Rotu's DragonSoul Hero Review.
Let's begin.
Up for review this week, Rabid Dragon. Her white, active skill, Breakneck Bite. Runs behind the furthest foe and does a quick series of basic attacks for 7 seconds, each dealing 2 stars worth of physical damage. The first attack is guaranteed to critically strike, has the physical damage trait and the electric damage trait. The listed damage is kind of deceptive, but still not incredibly impressive. The first hit being a critical hit is nice, but the best part of this skill to me is the wording and the ability to jump behind the enemies. Vanilla damage, but based on usefulness, I rate this as a 4-star skill. Her green skill, Rabid Repeater. Spits a ball of lightning that deals 1 star's worth of physical damage. Has the physical damage trait and the electric damage trait. Low damage, seemingly single target attack. This skill is unimpressive. I rate this as a 2-star skill. Her blue skill, Duck and Cover. Her heightened horn senses increase her dodge by 66 for 12 seconds. If she dodges an attack while this buff is active, she gains 345 energy. Has no traits. I'm always kind of amused that her nose glows like Rudolph when this skill triggers. Seeing how slow Rabid Dragon seems to be otherwise in gaining energy, this is really a welcome skill and a significant amount of energy gained as well. I find this skill incredibly useful. I rate this as a 5-star skill. Her purple skill, Rabble Rouser. Her boisterous personality increases her critical strike damage by 23%. Has no traits. Stats. As useful as this is, it's a wasted skill slot. I rate this as a 1-star skill. Her orange, legendary skill, One with the Murder. Increases her lifesteal by 40.25 each time one of her other abilities is triggered. Has no traits. This skill is unlocked when you promote to orange and then do 3 quests. Step 1. Inspiration to make a change. Sacrifice 1 motivational cassette. This collection requires more higher tier items, which made it more annoying than average, but it's a collection quest and those are easy. Step 2. Meditation Retreat. Defeat 14 titles in the Titan Temple with Rabid Dragon and at least 2 hippies, Groovy Druid, Orc Monk, Faith Healer, or Plant Soul. There seems to be a lot of confusion regarding this step. You don't need to kill Rabid Dragon Titans, you just need to run with a Rabid Dragon and 2 of the listed hippie heroes. For example, I used Rabid Dragon, Plant Soul, and Faith Healer. Killing any Titan works. Step 3. Mindfulness in practice. Win 30 battles in 1 day with Rabid Dragon without using Breakneck Bite. This one sounds harder than it actually is. You just have to manually run campaigns. Apparently Expedition doesn't count. I didn't try, so I cannot confirm. This one is just a bit time consuming. You could do it on Chapter 1 if you really wanted to. This is what the game wants to refer to as a snowballing effect. It starts at 0 and adds up every activation, and unlike other snowballing effects, this has no cap. The effect isn't devastating, of course, but it's still very, very good. I rate this as a 5-star skill. Rabid Dragon's suggested runes are Bolt for a 15% attack speed increase and Hail for a plus 30 accuracy boost. I choose to go a slightly different route. I kept Hail, but opted to use River instead for a plus 20% energy gain boost. I really want her active skill going off. She's slow out of the gate, and I felt this was a stronger setup. For major runes, I went with my traditional health, and I also targeted dodge as well for her Duck and Cover skill. For minor runes, I went with the traditional stuff: armor penetration, lifesteal, expertise, fury, accuracy, armor, magic resist, and tenacity, but I put a very heavy emphasis on starting energy, conservation for her legendary, and while crit damage isn't bad because of her rabble rousing skill, I tried to get crit chance specifically. Where I use Rabid Dragon. I do not use her in Boss Pit. I do use her in Titan Temple, and I'll expand on that in a moment. I do not currently use her in Coliseum. If I can speed her up significantly, I will start though. I do not use her in Fight Pit. I do not use her in Expedition. I have 2 distinct uses for Rabid Dragon. The first of which is flipping enemies. I use Ninja Dwarf heavily for this, but a solid backup or alternative option is never bad. I talked about this a fair amount in my Medusa review, but there's several popular heroes that I have never feared nor cared about. Medusa, Master Thief, Golden Genie, and others are all inept if they're facing the wrong way. I often feel like I'm taking crazy pills because I've always found it an incredibly effective technique versus heroes people are often bemused by. Her other use is generic Titan Temple fighting. Between her high dodge and endless lifesteal, If she can survive the damage that does get through, she's been incredibly effective against non-physically immune enemies. As for lineups she would be good in, forever I wanted to level Rabid Dragon and pair her with Electrieti because of his legendary. Now that I'm here though, because of the force of nature that Electrieti is, the appeal is gone. She's too slow and doesn't add anything useful to that mix except perhaps the occasional cleanup. It doesn't really suit her. The wording of her breakneck bite, though, says she does a series of basic attack, which means she should pair up really well with Raging Revenant. Being in a group of Raging Revenant, Barbarian, and Crimson Witch, toss in a Mistress Manicure and call it a day. Rabid Dragon used to be an absolute terror. I don't know who was considered the broken hero prior, but when I was leveling, she was a monster. There's no way to undersell this. If she was almost dead and had a sliver of health left, didn't matter, she'd wipe your group. You either killed her or ran away. Those days are long gone, but she's still a serviceable hero. I've run Ninja Dwarf and Rabid Dragon together and the speed difference is big. Rabid Dragon is either very slow to get out of the gate and doesn't really compare in damage output either. Ninja Dwarf is why she was sidelined, I think. He's an upgrade in almost every way. Overall, I rate Rabid Dragon as a 3 or 4 star hero, which is kind of awkward. She deserves a 3-star rating. She's average, but will serve you well. If you prefer flipping enemies, I think she's a must-have. A second or third option for war is always a worthwhile endeavor. Thanks for watching. Now, super generic outro. Okay, that's the end.